with all the work that I've been doing, I've sort of come to the conclusion, what is therapy? And for me, it's about really facing the reality of your life and looking at it and being real with what it brings up for you and really facing that mentally and emotionally and physically, how that impacts you. And this verse really sort of strikes me in regard to that context, where Allah says in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَلِلَّهِ الْمَشْرِقُ وَالْمَغْرِبُ, and to Allah belongs the east and the west, i.e. all around us, it all belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we're constantly engaging with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So wherever you turn, so wherever you direct yourself, right there is God's countenance. That's where you find God. He's right there. He's giving us our breaths at every moment. And we just really have to be real with what's going on for us and be real with Allah. For truly God is all-encompassing and He's all-knowing. But what I often find is we feel, my experience has been, is that we feel that we have to be a certain way with God. And so when I invite people to have conversations with God directly about their struggles, they might report, I don't feel worthy, as if you've got to be in a certain state to have a conversation with your maker. And then when I often dig a bit deeper with them, I ask them, is that God that you feel you have to be a certain way, or is it the people? And I often find that people project the way that they've been treated in their family dynamics or in the society and their community, the way they've been sort of raised, the way that they've come to identify with themselves, they project that in their relationship with God. And it can really become a barrier for them. And so therapy, for me, is really about coming what's going on in the here and now, what's gone in the past, in order to explore what's really going on for you, and then to be real with yourself, to say, yeah, it really frustrates me that that I'm not able to achieve this, and I really feel that I'm feel that I'm not worthy because of these things, or whatever that brings up. And so this is really how I believe people gain a relationship with God. And often the sort of language out there when we say, how do I focus, the classic one I will be asked is, how do I focus in prayer? And really, what I find is how do I focus in the moment of being with myself? And what we will find is when we're with ourselves, things come up. And then we're forced to explore those things. And ultimately, they're the way to get to Allah if we really face those things and explore them. And sometimes it's difficult to do by ourselves, and we need someone to mirror back those things. So, whether that's in the capacity of therapy, or whether that's in the capacity of just being with a good friend or a teacher, it's really important that we have those spaces that we can really just explore what's going on with us without judgment about it. And what does judgment mean about it? That I can just really be real with what is, rather than feel I've got to edit myself, so that I can move through that. An example of that, a very tangible example of that, would be if I invited myself or one of you just to sit in silence for a moment. What comes up? And usually our thoughts take us somewhere, don't they? And then we start, and there's something that we have to explore. Like, what is that thought? Where is it taking us? What is it trying to communicate to us? And then that's a path to really go on an exploration and explore something that takes us closer to ourselves, to understanding ourselves, and also fundamentally to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's really what I wanted to bring up. And that's relevant for this Ramadan, is that what we might do in Ramadan is, the typical thing is you say, well, what am I going to do this Ramadan? I'm going to, fast if I can. I'm going to give charity. I'm going to finish the Quran. And then you set yourself that goal, and then you find you start struggling with that because of the routine of the day, and then all the negative talk starts coming in, and that affects your Ramadan. But what I'm really going to try to explore, and hopefully the outcome from this talk is to have this flexibility mindset of adapting to where Allah's taking you, rather seeing yourself as a failure because you didn't achieve this initial intention that you set out. It may be that there's something else Allah's speaking to you to direct you towards that will take you to more expansion in your life and greatness. So that's really what I want to explore today.